Hi, it's Megan. I have the new Tarte Voyage set for holiday 2014, and I'm actually wearing the products right now, and I'm going to go through it first kind of as an overview review, then I'm going to compare it to last year's set, and then I'm going to actually go through the colors one by one so you can get swatches and see them. I also have outdoor swatches, which I like to put at the beginning of the video just so that people who don't want to watch a super long video don't have to watch the whole thing, but then people who want to see the individual swatches can. It just gives you choice. So anyway, it comes in this bag like this, and it's $59. They say it's a $423 value. I'm going to just assume that they're right about that. You get, and everything from what I understand according to Tarte is limited edition shades. So last year I came down really hard on Tarte because I felt like they cheaped out a little bit on some of their collection, although I did like the big set that they had. This year I feel the opposite. I think Tarte's doing an amazing job with the products I've seen for their holiday collections. They've had limited edition shades. I did the 4 blush set that was on their site, and also the little mini lip colors, and I love the colors. They were really wearable and versatile for most people, natural, and I would say the same about this set. I love this set. I just think it's amazing. I like Tarte, and I think this is true to Tarte, but I think they've been stepping a little bit out of their comfort zone recently, and some of the palettes or products have been less popular, like the summer palette, which I actually liked, but it wasn't a typical Tarte type palette. And this one I think mixes kind of traditional Tarte with just some really beautiful natural, especially mattes and not too shimmery, with a few more shimmery shades, including 1 or 2 that kind of channel the summer palette. But I love it. And if you want a natural, less kind of chemically line that applies beautifully, I think Tarte is a really great option. It also gives you a more natural look overall, but they have some really good smoky colors, and a lot of people want to wear a more natural look, whether you're older or younger. My daughter and her friends love Tarte because they like a little bit more natural look. They're younger, they don't wear a lot of makeup, and I think for older people, the mattes, not just old, but people who don't want crazy colors, the mattes work great. So this is the palette, and it's cooler than a lot of the other holiday collections. And it does have some warm browns, but it also has just a lot of really cool colors. And unlike a lot of cooler palettes, it's not leaning too heavily on blue or kind of super vibrant purples. Instead, it's got kind of purples that veer towards gray or mauve. It's still got some warm browns. And then, I don't know, that bottom layer looks a little blue to me there. And I thought it was more gray, except for this blue right here, which can kind of, if I do these first 4 shades right here, that's going to be way too cool for me unless I do a really smoky eye look and play up with my blush and everything. But adding the blue adds a lot of warmth. Or not warmth, color I guess is the better word. It's a mix of mattes, shimmers, a few shades that are not typical Tarte in my opinion, but what is typical Tarte. And then the other side is this right here. So you get a full-size Lipsurgence, a full-size gloss, a full-size, is that a full-size maracuja? I think it is. A mini, no, maracuja mascara. A mini cheek stain. And these are all limited edition colors except for obviously the mascara, maracuja oil, and then a little bit of powder. So, I'll tell you what I think overall. First, I love the fact that the palette has a lot more cooler shades. When I first started wearing makeup, I felt like everything was too cool toned, and I tend to do better in warmer colors. My daughter's cool tone though, and she loves Tarte. And I love the fact that they really leaned a little cool, but still had some warm shades in there as well. I like the mix of colors. I like the mix of textures. I do better with Tarte eyeshadows if I use a primer, but there are certain brands where if I use a primer, they just are still, they're just too pigmented. I can't wear them with a primer. I have to wear them without. Tarte shadows apply beautifully. They last a good 7-8 hours without a primer, longer with, but I just think they apply better with a primer. But these shades are typical Tarte in my opinion in that they're kind of soft and neutral. Some of the lighter ones are super soft. But they're flattering. They're really kind of ways of enhancing beauty instead of creating a makeup look where you just go, oh wow, look at that makeup. I really love, so I'm going to start swatching the lips and all this, and then I will put the lip shades on in front of on the camera, but I love Muse. This is the mini cheek stain. I just love, it's not going to show that. It's like a nude maybe a slight hint of like a plum or whatever, which seems to be something they're doing this year. It was one of the shades, similar to one of the shades in their blush palette, and it's got kind of a nice sheen, but not like a shimmer, just kind of like a glow to it. I really love it, and I have this on my cheeks. It's not a really dark color, but yet it's got enough going on that it's going to work on not all dark skin tones, but many of them. And this is one of those colors I'm always looking for, because I find with certain eyes, lips, I need a blush that doesn't add a lot of color but adds warmth. This one does that. Then they have, and this actually ties into why I like the palette, because I love these three products. I also love the Lipsurgence lip tint in Romantic. So this is a peachy nude, full-sized. This is on my lips right now. It's almost opaque, and God, it looks bright on my, it looks brighter on my wrist than it does on my lips. But this, it has that peppermint thing. This will last a good hour, hour and a half on me. But I love the fact that, again, it's not too peachy. It's got kind of a little bit of pink to it, so most people will be able to wear this. It's not leaning too pink or too peach. It's a good neutral. And I even like the gloss. I'm not a huge gloss fan. I'll put the gloss on over this, and then I'll apply it separately later. This is the gloss. It, again, it's apricot, but it's more, it's got more of that peachiness to it, which I think looks good on a lot of people. And this, again, is semi-sheer. These are not super opaque colors, but I love how versatile they will be for most people. They're going to add warmth. They're pigmented, so they're not going to be too light and give you that zombie look. And they can also go with people that have some darker skin tones, where sometimes if it gets like too cool peachy thing, a lot of people can't wear it, including me, by the way. I can't wear a lot of the cool pinky ones. And then you have the maracuja oil, which I do like. I wear this like once a week when I sleep, just to add some extra moisture, especially in the wintertime, so it's a little deluxe. I like the powder. I don't have anything exciting to say about the powder. It's a good basic powder. In my opinion, I use it to set my makeup. I have no idea what the treatment version of it is. Lights, Camera, Action mascara. It really does coat very evenly. I have a hard time getting excited about makeup. I mean, mascara. But this one actually really coats evenly, and it does make my lashes look thicker. It's not a real lengthening mascara in my opinion, but you know what? Okay, let me show you last year real quick. So this was last year's, and it opened up like this. So last year you got a mini of the tint, but it wasn't a limited edition shade, and then you got a little blush too. You got an eye cream, and you got a mascara that was a little bit smaller, and then you got the 8 mini lip glosses, and you got the palette. And I really much prefer the palette this year to the palette last year. Last year was really pretty, and it made it easy to do a look because they were done in 5s. So they're all meant with one liner shade, a crease shade, and all that. So this was really pretty, but I do like this year's better. So let me go through the eyeshadows, and then I will try to keep this from getting too long, because as much as I said, I wanted to make it longer. So overall, this for me is probably going to be one of my favorite holiday sets, just because it is so wearable, flattering, natural, and I just, when Tarte gets their shadows right, I love them. They're a little powdery. They're not the most pigmented sometimes, although some of these are really pigmented. There's always going to be a shadow that is more wow, but I just think for everyday wear, Tarte's great. So you have a sheet over with the colors, and there's like a theme for each one of them. So as the ones last year basically had, you know, the 4 in a little square, these you can kind of go across and get the same kind of effect with them. And these are all full-sized. So the first row kind of has a mauve purple undertone to it, but you can also see there's brownishness to them as well. This one's kind of, I was going to say this is the warmest. Yeah, I think this is the warmest row right here. And these are more the browns. And then this one is kind of a fun one. They mix a gray in with a really dark chocolate brown, a shimmery, these are almost the same type of shade with a different texture, matte and shimmery. And then this is a really light shimmery white, so that cools down the brown. It's very warm brown, this cools it down. And then here you get the grays, but then they're adding in that blue to really give it more color. And like I said, on me, it just makes it more wearable. So I have on my eyes this row right here, just because I thought that was the most fun. It's kind of quirky. So the first one And I'm not going to hold the palette up every time. I want to get through this without making it forever long. Palace of Versailles. So this is a super light. Some of these swatches aren't going to show on my wrist. Super like a bone pink. It's going to actually show up. The lighter ones are going to show up here better. But it's definitely very pink undertone to the bone. And it's a cooler shade. The next one is I Think I Can's. And these two are gonna not show up on dark, well, the first one actually will. The second one's not gonna show up so much on darker skin tones. This is like a mauve color. Definitely got a pink undertone to it. And I would say mauve, almost like, I don't know, taupey mauve, if that makes sense. The next one is my own Côte d'Aron, and it's a Paris themed, and this right here, definitely a purple tinted taupe. And the next shade, and that's kind of a mid to cool. I think it's a neutral. The next one is a deeper purple, but again, you can see it's got kind of a taupe undertone to it so that it's not looking too colorful. It's almost more of a smoky shade than a colorful purple. Now this is where I'm not so thrilled with the palette. The next shade is, so my own Côte d'Aron, then Boudoir Noir. I can sort of tell these apart. And the matte application, my wrist was a little bit wet. It's not completely, you can see this is a little bit redder, as in a redder purple, a little bit more purplish looking, where this one's a little bit more mauve taupe looking. But I think they look very similar on. So if you see criticisms, there are some of the lighter shades which don't show up so much, especially swatched. They actually look really pretty on, especially outside. Like right up here, it's just a soft base shade, which I like, but I know people criticize that sometimes in palettes. I like it, but okay, the next one, Fall in Louvre, the museum. So we're gonna go, I'm gonna just show you, so we just did the first, now we're skin tone. And this one I think is a little patchy in the application, honestly. I like shades that are super, super light and don't show up that much. When I put them up here, some people are gonna not like this shade as much. The next one, Provence Upon a Time. Another really light. And this one is shimmery. This one reminds me a little bit of the summer palette, and it's a very warm, almost a butterscotchy brown. Like a golden, like a burnt golden color. It's really kind of a cool color. The next one is Eiffel for You. It's a rich brown, but it almost has like a little blackened nature to it. Not even a chocolate. I would call this a bear brown, like a grizzly bear. But it's got a little bit of a blackened color, which makes it a little bit cooler. The next one is Too Hot to Handle. It's another one of these shimmery, slightly shimmery, not super shimmery. And this is very similar, let me just swatch them next. Very similar to the last one. It's a little bit warmer. You can see them blended together. It's a little bit warmer, and it has a little bit of a shimmer where the other one was a pure matte. And then the last brown is Bastille in the Night. These are cute names. This is a really dark, cooler toned, blackened brown. And this is a matte. Then the next row, which I'm wearing, Chantilly Lace. So this I put under right here, and I actually put it in the little corner a little bit. This is one of those shades, God, it's so light. It's so light. It's just, it's a really soft shimmer. This is one of the more shimmery shades. As in you can almost see shimmer in it. I don't know if that makes sense. You can almost see, not glitter, but almost tiny specks. And it's almost a white, it's almost a sheer. This is very much reminds me of the summer palette. This is one of the few that does. So if you really don't like those sheer shades that add a light sheen, I love those kinds of shades. You might not love this one. Then I'm gonna put these two next to each other on my wrist. I'm gonna see you later, because I think they're very similar. I love this kind of color that Tarte and Urban Decay both do. This is really soft, warm, taupish brown. I love this to put just on the lid, and I have this in the outer half of my lid. I just love these shades, and it's really pretty as an under eyeliner too. When I have like 1 second to get ready and I need just a natural look, and it's a warmer color. The next one's cooler, and this one's almost like a shimmery gold. But because it's got such a sheen to it, and it's a light gold, it ends up being a little bit cooler tone than it would be otherwise. I put that in the inner part of the eye. I love the next one. I'm a huge sucker for these really dark, rich, warm browns. This right here is called Take on Bordeaux. And this almost has like a reddish undertone. Well, it does almost. It does have a reddish undertone to it. It's a really rich, warm brown. And I did that in the crease. I did it lining very softly. I didn't have to wet the shadow to get kind of a dark line. It really is pigmented. And then I just put a little bit in the corner as well. And I mixed that in with the gray, which I thought was an interesting addition. I really like how they mixed up colors in this palette. This is a shimmery, sparkly gray. This reminds me almost of an Urban Decay color. And I use that to line under the eyes. Applied, it actually goes on very, very pigmented. I had to blend it out a little bit. But I like the brown and the gray actually together a lot. The next row, okay, so there we did one row of browns, second row of kind of browns. Now we're going to do the grays. The first one is called C'est la Vie. And this is like a shimmery gray, which would actually be really pretty with the last gray. But it's got like these pink undertone to it that it shifts in the light so that it can look kind of pinky, mauvey, has a little glisten glow sheen to it. I wouldn't say you can see glitter, but almost. But like someone ground up glitter into tiny, tiny, tiny little specks. The next one is Marseille, the word. It's right here. A very pretty gray. It was surprisingly warm gray. It's warmed up. I don't know. It's hard to. It's almost like it's got again a little bit of a brownish mauve that warms it up a little bit, but it's definitely a neutral color overall. This whole row is more neutral. This right here is Play Nice. I'm gonna put it next to. This is a kind of a charcoal. And again, with some of the mattes, the first swatch isn't the most perfect swatch, but when I apply it, it really does apply smoothly and blends beautifully. But Tarte is never going to be the, I don't know, the one that looks like a cream eyeshadow. The next one is On a Good Notre Dame. And this is, so actually I'm going to apply this next to the last one because I want you to see again, this is one of those where it's almost close. So these are almost like darker versions of the same shade, which you could almost blend this out. This has a little bit more of like a blue to it. This one has just a pure charcoal to it, but they are somewhat similar. And if you do a lot of blending, you could actually blend them to look like they are the same shade, which some people I think have complained about. A couple of the shades. This is the last one, Le Cordon Bleu. And this one is not as, I don't know, it applies not quite as well as some of the others. It's a little bit of a spotty matte blue. But again, if you want to get kind of a soft, softened look, it's perfect. If you want to get a really defined dark blue, then you will not like it. So what do I think overall, now that I'm done and I've already told you what I kind of think overall? I just love this. I really, really do. I think that Tarte did a great job. Oh, I promised to do the lips. Sorry. Tarte did a great, great job in making a palette that is flattering, wearable, and will work for most people. And it's a good value. The standout products for me are the Lipsurgence. I love the color. The blush. And this is a gloss. It has like a vanilla smell to it, whereas the creme brulee vanilla, whereas the Lipsurgence has a peppermint smell. A few of the shadows. The shadows that I particularly like, I actually really like the row that I'm wearing, probably the best. I think it's the most unusual mix of colors. And then I think this one's just maybe not quite as exciting, but I think for a lot of people this would be a really good kind of way to wear something that's a little bit more interesting and exciting than just a plain, boring, neutral eye, but soft enough is going to work on pretty much everyone. Anyway, that's it. Please subscribe on YouTube. Comments, thoughts, all that are welcome. If you agree, disagree with me, have anything to say about this set, French themed, I guess. Cute. I think it's a cute bag. Maybe a little over the top, but I like it. And that's it. Thanks.